Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pick Six Podcast. I'm your host, Larry Sazinski. Alongside me is Mr. Tamale himself.
Chipotle Danny Waiter.
That's what he's chowing on. Yeah, I'm really never been into Mexican food. Soft tacos, chicken cheese quesadillas, stuff like that. Like, oh yeah, like I used to go to Taco Bell all the time just to get their dollar stackers. Oh my god, dude! You get like 5 of those. That's like 7 pounds of food, and it was so great. I miss them. I wish they'd bring them back. But anyway, we hope you guys had a good week. Um, uh, this is the most crazy week we've had this season. In week 10, I'm calling this one the Revenge of the Underdog. And the reason why I say that, we had 13 games on the schedule in week 10, and 7 of them were upsets. 7 of them. And I just want to breeze through it. Look at this. You would never think this would ever happen. You had the Titans over the Chiefs. You had the Cardinals over the Bucks. The Jets over the Giants. But the Saints losing to the Falcons. And I'm not talking by like 3 points. I'm talking by like 3 scores. Now all of a sudden Atlanta wants to come out and just totally dominate. The Saints got ruined. I couldn't believe that one. I shook my head. I'm like, that's unbelievable. The Browns beat the Bills. The Dolphins beat the Colts. And, of course, the Monday night miracle game that I've been dying for. And I hyped this. Like I said, this was my game to watch that I said on the last episode. The Seahawks and the Niners. That game is the game of the year so far. That game was the most exciting game I have ever seen in a long time. This surpasses the Lions beating the Patriots, in my opinion, because this was just action-packed. Both defenses were amazing, and because like I was telling Danny before we started recording, 7 total turnovers. I think it was like there was 2 interceptions and 5 fumbles or something amongst both, and almost all the points came off defense in that game. But I feel bad for that rookie kicker. I really do. I do need to touch on that really quick because, I understand it's his first game. He's never kicked a football in an NFL game. He's never kicked in overtime. He's not, even in college, they threw that stat on there. He was 0-0 for everything. It's like the first time ever that he kicked a football. But the problem that I have is it wasn't even close. He shanked that ball so bad, and I'm like, oh, my God. And it cost the 49ers the game. It was just, I felt so bad. And it's like Robbie Gould, you can only do what you can do. But that kick was so disgusting. I could have done a better job at that. But I understand. I get it. I'm not dogging him at all. How could you put that much pressure on a rookie kicker that's never really kicked a football? Especially in a game that, it boils down to whether you win or lose. That was just too much pressure for him. So, I can't get on him. I can't dog him about that. But, the kick could have been a little bit closer, a little bit tighter. That kick was just, it was a dead fish as soon as he booted it. And it was just so sad to see that happen. But anyway, as far as week 10 goes, believe it or not, Danny finally takes one, which puts me at 5-3-2 on the season, and Danny at 3-5-2. I was 4-9, and he was 5-8. So we both did horrible. But like I said, all these upsets, revenge of the underdog in week 10. Do you have anything to talk about as far as week 10 goes, sir?
First of all, I want to talk about how the Bengals are now the Dolphins, and the Bengals fans, it's winter. Come get your hot chocolate. We could talk about it. It's okay. Because we didn't realize how bad the Bengals were. We just thought the Dolphins were like horrible, but no, the Bengals are just bad. And Lamar Jackson made them look silly. He looked like a video game character out there. He juked, spin moved. It was just crazy. And I heard not an announcer, but a sportscaster. They were talking about how comparing Lamar Jackson to Michael Vick is an understatement because Lamar Jackson is better than when Michael Vick was in his prime. And that's saying something because nobody could even Madden back in I think it was '05 or '07 for Madden. Michael Vick was unstoppable in that game because in the league he was almost unstoppable. He was literally the team. And here you have Lamar Jackson who's just doing it even better. You know, uh, so kudos to the Ravens for stomping on the Bengals, 40 to like 13, I think. Uh, yeah, 49-10. That that is a video game. And I also want to say that this season makes no sense at all. Because the Jets, who have looked like the new Dolphins, went ahead and beat the Giants. Who the Giants were looking pretty good, and then the Jets wanted to show up again. I don't understand it. And that, and then the Browns beat the Chiefs. I no, the Titans beat the Chiefs, and that still made no sense to me. Ryan Tannehill is not a winning quarterback. He, yeah, and most of these were decided by field goals. I mean, it's crazy. Like people forget how important kickers are, and people are so quick to criticize them, and it's like they got very important jobs. So when people say, "Oh, they're not really practicing," no, they practice in practice. Okay, they have their own type of practice. All right, they practice while there's whistles blowing. They practice while there's people screaming in their ears. Yes, they're kicking a ball through a field goal, but people don't realize how important that is for them to keep practicing that in practices and being able to find these free agents like Robbie Gould. The 49ers hit gold when the Bears released him. Look at the Bears. They got a kicker that I don't even know who their kicker is. That's how bad he is. And doink doink, double doink. And and also talking about the Seattle 49er game, that poor kicker, like it was such a good game. And it is the kicker's job to go in there and kick the field goal and win the game. But that I give him a lot of props for going in there and not just kind of like, you know what, coach, you should go for it on fourth down, or get me a little closer, coach. How about that? But I give him props for and he got ice too. You know, uh, Pete Carroll called that timeout, gave him way too much time to think, and when you have too much time to think, you overthink, and then as you can see, you just hit the ball. Like Larry said, you just slapped it. But man, that game was the game of the year. I mean, you had Russell Wilson doing his magic, and yes, I won, but I almost thought I lost because I was boosting up Russell Wilson so much, and then all of a sudden he just throws a pick, and I'm like, wow, wow. And even the announcers were like, man, this is the early season front runner MVP, and then he throws a pick, and it was just such a good game, and it was a good defensive game. And then when one team scored, the other one scored, and Jadeveon Clowney was a beast in that game. I think he had 2-3 sacks. He had a strip sack, and then he also had a fumble recovery for a touchdown as well. I think like 2 passes defended. So you can kind of see why J.J. Watt fell off with the Texans, because he didn't have Jadeveon Clowney to take up, all the attention. Because J.J. Watt's a good player, but without Javion Clowney, uh, he's just kind of a pretty good defensive player. But that's all I really have to say about that because it it wasn't supposed to turn out like that. There was no reason for all these different upsets. I mean, think about it. We do pretty good on picking our games for the week, and we just bombed. But that just tells you how unpredictable the NFL is, and how if any team really wants to win, they will.
You are absolutely correct, sir. I cannot disagree with anything this time. I'm in 100% agreement with you. But there is a couple things about the Monday night game I also need to talk about. There was a situation, it was 4th down and 1. And Seattle decided to punt. And you already know what I'm talking about. I literally was there scratching my head, just saying, okay, you're in overtime. It's 4th and 1, and you're almost in 49er territory. Why would you punt? That one I scratched my head on. I'm like, okay, you have the chance to win the game. It's 4th and 1 with, I think it was like 1:37 seconds left or something like that. And you decide to punt the football on 4th and 1. I couldn't figure that one out. So I don't know what they were thinking about punting the football on 4th and 1 when it was an easy. It was on the half-yard line, or not the half-yard line, but it was you were about not even like a half a yard away from a first down and you punt. I had a problem with that one. But yeah, that was, like I said, that was the game of the year, probably the game of the century right now. I mean, this was just a full-blown battle. Okay, like I said, we're trying to keep this short because we weren't able to split up the episode as we wanted to, so we got a 2-hour podcast last week, and that was just insane because we couldn't split it up. Danny was sick; he had a lot going on, so what can you do? So we're gonna. There's another thing I want to touch base on really quick here as we are approaching week 11. People are already starting talking about the offseason, and it's really not a question, but I'll pose it this way: there's going to be another offseason where there's going to be a lot of moves in the offseason again, I think. And I think it's going to be centered around quarterbacks. So I have a short little list of quarterbacks who I do not think will be with their teams this year or for next season. Cam Newton is one of them. I think he's done in Carolina. I would actually like to see him go to Miami. See how it works out down there. Yeah, I don't see Cam Newton returning to the Panthers at the end of this season. There was another one and I forgot. See, I had all this lined up in my head before I came over, and now I just went. I truly believe I'm not gonna get into an hour and a half conversation about Lions. I think Matthew Stafford should be traded.
I agree.
I think his time in Detroit is done because of the fact that as I've mentioned before, if anybody deserves a ring, is Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford will not get it in Detroit. I think they should trade him to somewhere else that's a massive contender besides the Patriots. I would like to see him go to Atlanta. I think that would be a major boost for Atlanta. I really do, because Matt Ryan, I mean, I'm not here to talk shit about anybody. I really don't like to say, he's horrible. He can't, he's getting up there in age now. His season it's not so great. I mean, he's putting up some decent numbers here and there. It's not a consistent pattern. And I think I would like to see Matthew Stafford go to Atlanta and turn that team around, because you got Freeman, you got Jones. I mean, you're set on offense. If you can get if Matthew Stafford could get down to Atlanta, look out. I mean, that's what I would, or even friggin' even New Orleans. Drew Brees is up there. I mean, how much longer is he gonna go? I mean, especially after this injury, what effect is that going to have on him in the offseason? Will he come back, or will he retire? I mean, they're sitting at 7-2. They're sitting good right now. They're comfy, cozy. So, I mean, does he stay or does he retire? Will it depend on if he gets a ring or not this year, or is it going to be lights out? I don't know. I don't know, dude. I just they need to trade Stafford away. I mean, they're getting rid of all the usual Lion bullshit. Get rid of all your good players. I mean, you might as well just trade Stafford away. I mean, you could get some good ass players for Matthew Stafford. I mean, you're looking at a top 5 quarterback overall. Like I said, like was this 3 weeks, 3 or 4 weeks this season so far? He's took offensive player of the year or of the week or something like that. So I mean, you guys can dog Matthew Stafford all you want, but bottom line, he gets a bad rep because he's with the Lions. Yeah. And we've mentioned this before. You put him on any other team, he's a superstar stud, but he's wearing a Lions uniform, so that makes him a punk. And I 100% disagree. There was somebody else that I want. Ryan Tannehill's another one. I don't think he's going to be in Tennessee. I don't see him lasting either. Will Ben Roethlisberger throw it up too? I mean, because you got Phillip Rivers as well. Phillip Rivers, Ben Roethlisberger, Drew Brees. I mean, we're talking almost 17 years in the NFL. I mean, but the thing is the majority of them are still throwing like they're in their 20s. I'm not including Tom Brady in any of this conversation because, like I said, I don't give a shit about Tom Brady, and I never will. I just that's the big thing with me. I mean, you got Big Ben, Drew Brees, Phillip Rivers, Matt Ryan, Cam Newton, Ryan Tannehill. What's going to happen with Gardner Minshew? Is he going to stay? As you obviously can tell, he's starting material. Will Gardner Minshew stay now that Nick Foles is back? I don't know. Case Keenum, he's another one. Now that Dwayne Haskins is now starting in Washington now. So I don't know. Like I said, this is going to be very interesting. I think this is going to be a very quarterback central offseason, especially for teams that need that boost, like the Miami Dolphins, the Cincinnati Bengals. So I don't know. This is going to be very interesting. I mean, so my question to you is, who do you think stays and who do you think goes?
Out of quarterbacks, right? Yeah. I agree with you. Stafford should be traded. I really think like a lot of players don't get a lot of like Darius Slay. He's only been to now he's finally been to 2 Pro Bowls, I believe. But he's not considered like one of the top cornerbacks because he's in a Lions uniform. So that's the same thing with Matthew Stafford. Because he's in a Lions uniform, for some reason, he's just, oh, well, he's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. But if he was in Green Bay or if he was with the Patriots, he'd have more Super Bowls than Brady. Every other coach would easily be like, okay, you have a big arm. You're really good with the play action. You're really good in the pocket with, getting away from sacks and whatnot. You're not too much of a runner, but you can still run if you want to. And for some reason, you got a hit stick for some reason. You can truck people. Don't know why, but you can. But, he he would be so much better on another team. And I can see him honestly being on the Texans, or not the Texans, the Titans or the Jaguars, because both those teams have running backs that are phenomenally, like good. Derrick Henry is a very big, fast running back. And Leonard Fournette he's not very fast, but he's a big running back. And he's not too big. He's like 6 foot 220, but like he hits people like he's 260. So, and I think Stafford would definitely help those teams out because you have Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota as your quarterbacks in Tennessee. All they are wideouts that want to be quarterbacks. That's it, like slot receivers, because they're fast. They're quick and elusive, but that's it. They're not good quarterbacks. I don't know why. They have Ryan Tannehill in place of Marcus Mariota. He's older, and the Dolphins got rid of him because he wasn't winning in Miami. Whereas Marcus Mariota is a little bit better as a game manager, but like Corey Davis and what's his name? It's something Sharp, the second receiver in Tennessee, but both of them would benefit from Stafford, and Stafford would benefit from them. I mean, I would hate to see Stafford go, but I mean, honestly, any team would give up like 3 first-round picks for Stafford. Honestly, I could easily see that. I mean, the Raiders traded Khalil Mack to the Bears for 2 first-round picks and like 2 other players, I believe. So why can't Stafford have that same thing? Also, speaking about quarterbacks, I want to say that Colin Kaepernick is having tryouts this Saturday, apparently. So we're going to see how that goes and see if any teams are brave enough to pick him up. Because, that's very controversial and very, that's a very touchy topic. So, I could see Colin Kaepernick actually going to the Jaguars. I could see them picking him up. Or, man, who else would need a quarterback? Tampa Bay. You know what? Actually, I think Stafford would be good on Tampa Bay. Big old Mike Evans. Mike Evans that's literally his next Calvin. Okay. I know there's so many Stafford haters out there, but he's really such a good quarterback, and he deserves a ring, and he's not going to get it with Detroit, unfortunately. They could prove us wrong, but they haven't in so far 30 years for Larry, and I think like 15 years for me. So let's see. Another quarterback I can see moving is Jameis Winston. I definitely see him as being moved away from the Buccaneers because he's not good. I don't know why they stick with him. There's no reason. He's prone to throw interceptions at the darnest times. And I think he's already about to have the most interceptions within like 5-6 year period. So, you want to say hi, Olive? No? Okay. I got my little kitty. She just jumped into my lap and then just started rubbing against the microphone. Yeah. You just want all the lovers. Anyway, yeah, I definitely see Jameis Winston being a top person, being moved in the NFL because he's not good. He's shown that he can be elite, but he's shown way too many more times that he is way worse than what people say. So, yeah, I believe it's Matthew Stafford, Jameis Winston, and Tom Brady.
to retirement. I don't know. We'll see. But on your Colin Kaepernick talk, we got 3 teams right now. The leader right now is Pittsburgh. Okay. Which, I mean, I can understand that. Roethlisberger, again, he's getting older. Don't know if he's going to come up or not, or if he's going to stay, or if he's going to go. Let's see. The New York Giants. Wow. Yeah, that would actually be a good one. And the Miami Dolphins. I could see him with the Dolphins too. Out of those 3, those would be my favorite. That would be my favorite. Definitely is Miami. Like I said, say what you want about him. I don't care. He was a good quarterback. So, well, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. But like I said, I think this season or this offseason is going to be focused on the quarterbacks. I think more than anything else, we're going to see a lot of shifting as far as the quarterback situation is concerned. So I don't know. I mean, we'll wait and see what happens. And here we are. We're only 26 minutes in. Yeah, I like that. And we are getting ready to start our Week 11 picks, or Week 12. Week 11. Yeah, Week 11. Ugh. So this one's not too bad. I just wrote my picks down this week. I really didn't get a chance to look for upsets or anything like that. So actually, we can spend a little bit more time talking about these now. First off, tomorrow night, Pittsburgh Steelers and the Cleveland Browns. I said, Cleveland, they need to figure it out. Like I said, this is another situation that we keep talking about every week. It's every situation, all the players, like I said, this is a playoff team on paper. I don't understand what's going on, but they're coming off that upset last week. I want to see him continue it on with the Pittsburgh Steelers, but I'm sticking with the Steelers over the Browns.
I got the Steelers as well. I mean, just like you said, they got the upset, but the Steelers were 1-4, and then just somehow won 4 straight games out of nowhere. Okay, Mason Rudolph seems to be the real deal, so I have the Steelers winning.
Interesting. Next up, here we go again. Another one that came off an upset. The Bills at Miami. Miami is starting to play some ball. What are they? Were they 2 in a row? 3 in a row? 2 in a row? Is it 2 in a row? No. But still, even though last week, I mean, oh my God, the Colts, man. The Colts. What the hell happened there, dude? I mean, to get taken down by the Dolphins. The Colts. But I'm not giving them this one. The Bills are going to make a comeback on this one. They're going to take down the Dolphins in Miami.
I'm taking the Dolphins because the Colts came out smacking this year, and then they get smacked by the Dolphins. I mean, and then the Bills, they got stomped too. I mean, and that's the thing about this year. It's so hard to pick a team because you can say this team that is 7-1 is going to win this game. They're 7-2 against a 1-7 team now. What? But I'm gonna pick the Dolphins because I have a feeling that this 2-game win streak, it's still gonna be a close game, but I think they're starting to pick up some steam, and I think they can do some magic. If you know what I'm saying. Ryan Fitzpatrick. Fitzmagic. Just saying. Fitzmagic. It happened in Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I sure hope he is playing for Miami. Fitzmagic.
Excellent. I have to say, yeah, exactly. Fitzmagic. Where did he come from all of a sudden? Okay. I'm not going to argue there. I mean, I really do hope that they turn it around. I really do. I've been a Dolphin fan for a long time as well, since Dan Marino days, man. So we'll see. Hopefully, it's a good turnaround. Next up, we have the Jaguars and the Colts. Nick Foles is back. Jacoby Brissett is on the downward spiral. So I am going with the Jags over the Colts. I think there's something wrong, deeply wrong with the Indianapolis Colts right now. I don't know. I don't know what's going on, but they're starting to fall off the map for me. And Foles is back, my magic man. So I think the Jaguars are going to start picking it up a little bit. So I'm going to go with Jags over the Colts in a very tough race.
I'm going Colts because Nick Foles has missed so much time this year, and I am definitely not just going to. I think I would rather have Gardner Minshew playing than Nick Foles. So I give it to the Colts because I think throwing Nick Foles into the fray like so soon after coming off of injury, uh, yeah, I'm giving it to the Colts.
It's going to be a good game either way. The Falcons and the Panthers. This was a tight call for me, man, because after seeing the freaking Falcons destroy the Saints, which pains me to say that, because I told you many times that I always look forward to watching these two teams play because they were so equal. And with how horrible the Falcons have been playing, that game was on Fox with the Lions game, but I didn't even bother watching it. I'm like, it'll be a it'll be a lock. I said it'll be a lock. Saints got this, no problem. And look what happened. Falcons destroyed them. And I'm like, man, it's actually a good thing I didn't watch that game because I would have ended up with a broken TV. So we got the Falcons and the Panthers. I'm digging Kyle Allen. I think he is the future of the Panthers organization. So I'm back on the Panthers bandwagon. So I'm going with the Panthers over the Falcons at home.
I'm going Falcons because they did a good job of finally switching the defensive coordinator job from Dan Quinn to whoever their defensive coordinator is now. Now that Dan Quinn can just be a head coach and someone else is calling the defensive plays, they woke up. They woke up. They matched their season total of sacks. Like, they had 5 sacks for the year. They had 6 sacks against the Saints. Okay? And you don't just do that on a fluke with a good team. Okay? And the Saints are a great team. So I'm picking the Falcons because I think they might get the ball rolling here. They're 2-7. They might go 9-7.
If they can remain consistent and play the way they did last week against the Saints, I know that was their first division game. I know. Yep. So we'll see. I mean, I would like to see that. Yeah, because like I said, I want to see that come back. So hopefully, when the Saints play the Falcons again, we'll see. Hopefully, it'll be a better game. Next up, this is a throwaway for me anyway. The Broncos and the Vikings. We mentioned this time. I hate sounding like a broken record on this podcast. Oh, quick side note. We're going to be changing the name of this podcast because there is another podcast called The Pick Six, but it's not focused around talking about the NFL. They basically talk about fantasy football, Madden, stuff like that. I mean, it's a pretty cool podcast if you want to go check them out. But we will be changing our name. I'll have that next week. We will not be called The Pick Six anymore. I'm debating on whether or not we should just stick out with the Pick Six channel or if we're going to switch it over and just make a whole new one. So keep an eye out on that. That's probably going to happen next week. Danny and I will talk about that after we get done recording this episode so we can figure things out and what we're going to do. So that way we stick out more of our own podcast instead of sharing our name with somebody else. I knew there was a Pick Six out there, but it wasn't what we're covering. We're covering the real NFL, not fantasy football, stuff like that. So look for that to come next week. So what I'm probably going to have Danny do, during the editing, before at the end of this podcast, we'll have the new name and everything, and whether or not we're gonna go ahead and make another page. So stick around for that as well. But anyway, yeah, back to I don't know. I just cut in for all that. I don't know why. I could have waited, but the Broncos and the Vikings. We mention this all the time. Drew Lock. Start Drew Lock. I don't know what Elway's waiting for. And it's really starting to get frustrating to me because you're wasting talent right now, Denver. Start Drew Lock, and you're going to be a better football team. Right now, it's a wash. Broncos over the Vikings in Minnesota.
I'm going to pick the Vikings because the Broncos defense has kind of been underwhelming in my opinion with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. They haven't really been doing what they usually do. And then, they're not starting Drew Lock. I don't understand. They got this Brandon guy, and it's like he's barely ever played. But I got the Vikings as well because I think their offense will be too much for the Broncos. But then again, we could also be completely wrong because sometimes we are, apparently.
And boy, were we last week. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Next up, we have this is going to be a good one. The Texans and the Ravens. In Baltimore, again, Lamar Jackson is the unstoppable force. I will keep apologizing until the end of the season because I picked Baltimore to be dead last because their defense they were all gone. Everybody left. I'm like, and that was something that Baltimore was known for 20 plus years was their defense. So big apologies, Baltimore. I love what you guys are doing. You guys are just ripping it no matter who you play. It's amazing. I'm going Baltimore over Houston in Baltimore.
I got the Ravens as well. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I thought the Ravens were going to have a very special team. And here we are, week 11. And they have a very special team. Week 11, by the way, Larry. It's almost done. And then on a side note as well, once we figure out if we're going to do another channel or if we're going to just keep everything on this, we will be doing a lot of other things in the off season. We'll be talking about different acquisitions. We'll talk about different injuries, but we'll also probably talk about games. We'll probably talk about some movies. We'll probably talk about holidays and just different topics. Whatever we feel like for that week. Just to keep it fresh, just to keep you guys entertained, and give some football statistics, whatever, until the season starts again. Because we all know we go into a slump once football season is over. We're all like, but I do have the Ravens winning. I still think they're a very, they probably have one of the best chances to win the Super Bowl this year. But I have the Ravens winning this week.
Here's a question: do you have the Ravens as the AFC champions?
Yes.
Really? You see them beat? I think okay. We'll make a step here. AFC Championship game, Baltimore and Kansas City.
Baltimore.
Oh. As of right now, I would say Baltimore is the best team in the AFC right now. I might actually have to agree with you that as much as I don't want to, because I love my Chiefs, I think you're right. I'm going to have to agree with you. So I think Baltimore is the better team in the AFC right now. Absolutely. So yeah, like I said, if it comes down to Baltimore and Kansas City in the AFC Championship game, I will take Baltimore over Kansas City. Absolutely. If things continue the way they are right now, Ravens are going to the Super Bowl. So next up, we have the Saints and the Bucks. This is actually an iffy game now for me. Like I said, I pick all these during Sunday football. So before like all the games are over. I go step by step, So I didn't know about the Saints loss until after I picked all these because I thought this game that Saints in Atlanta was going to be a wash. I don't know now. I did pick the Saints, but I don't know. After watching them play so horribly against the Atlanta Falcons the way they did, ooh, I'm kind of worried about this one because they were, well, besides the San Francisco 49ers, I want to say NFC, if they switch it around, San Francisco versus the Saints in the NFC Championship game, San Francisco wins. But I got the Saints over the Bucks.
I also have the Saints over the Bucks because we can predict if the Saints are going to win to a point. But you can't predict if the Buccaneers are going to win or lose. Jameis Winston is that good and bad of a quarterback that if he's on fire, they're winning. If he's not, they're losing. It's completely based on him. So I have the Saints winning over the Winstons.
All right. Throwaway game here. The New York Jets at Washington. I really don't care. I'm sticking by Dwayne Haskins. It's not his time yet, obviously. I see him improving in the offseason. I see him staying in Washington. He's going to be the starter. But yeah, I this is a throwaway for this season anyway. I'm going with the Redskins. I'm a fan of Dwayne Haskins. I loved what he did with Ohio State. Phenomenal quarterback for Ohio State. He just needs to get in that Ohio State groove and bring that into the Washington Redskins organization. And if he can do that, his stock will go way up. I guarantee it. So hang in there, Dwayne. I know you got this. Just give it a minute. Calm down. Let things come naturally, just like it did when you were with Ohio State. So I'm going Redskins over the Jets in Washington.
I have the Jets winning. Not really because, I'm totally for them, but I'm just kind of, pulling at straws here. And I'm going to say the Jets are going to win this. They've shown that they're capable of winning. They've shown that they're very capable of losing as well. And, that defense is still good, but it's not as great as I thought it was going to be. They traded away some players, and, they definitely let me down. But I have the Jets winning. I don't think Dwayne Haskins is ready just yet. So, if it was next year, I would give it another thought, but Jets over the Redskins.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like I said, give it another season. Dwayne will be right back up there. Next up, throwaway game, Cowboys and Lions. I'm not going into it. We've already discussed it. Not only can the Lions not win with Stafford, but they can't win without him. That was one of the ugliest games I've ever seen. This is going to be a wash because they still do not have a time frame for when Matthew Stafford is coming back. And there was a bunch of articles that I sent to Danny about the Lions, articles that I read about the Lions. The Lions organization is a dictatorship. I read the article, and I'm 100% behind that. I'm like I said, I'm not getting into it because this will be another 2-hour podcast. You can't win without Stafford. Bottom line. What was the guy that our backup that what is it? Jeff Driscoll. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Sorry. Cowboys over the Lions, 48-14.
I want, as a fan, to pick the Lions. You know what? Even I've always told myself I'm going to always pick against them, so I'm picking the Lions for this week because I've never liked the Dallas Cowboys. I think that team is literally how much money for this player? Just give it to him. We'll just pay for every player. We'll let me just sign a check and we can just have all the best players. It's fine. Whatever. Uh, Now there are a couple people that I do like on the Cowboys. Uh, Amari Cooper. I love him. He's a great receiver. I think he has a super bright future ahead of him. I mean, even with Derek Carr, even with Dak Prescott isn't even a good quarterback. I don't know why people keep thinking that he's a good quarterback. But anyway, uh, Amari Cooper's, going to be great. And then Jason Wynn came out of retirement from being uh, an announcer, which thank you for doing that because you were horrible announcing. There was times where your partner had to bail you out because you were just flatlining, and you were so much better at football than you are at talking. So, but unfortunately, I'm going to pick the Lions. If Matthew Stafford doesn't play, then I really don't see them winning at all in any way. Because, like Larry said, they haven't been winning with him, but their chances of winning when he's on the field is like astronomically high compared to when he's off the field. When he's off the field, they have no chance. It was proven last week against a very lackluster Bears team. That defense, it hasn't been ferocious this year. Khalil Mack, he hasn't been dominant this year. And they still couldn't even do anything. And they let Mitch Trubisky, who had 5 touchdowns this whole year, they let him throw 3. Okay, he hasn't even thrown for over 200 yards this year, and they let him throw for over 300. Okay, they made him look like the MVP right now. But I will choose the Lions because I will never choose the Cowboys.
Like I said, bottom line, it doesn't matter what's what. Danny will never, ever, ever pick against the Lions. Never, no matter what. And yeah, I'm sorry. With the way these upsets were last week, this is going to be a closer game than what I think it's going to be. Next on the list, Arizona Cardinals at San Francisco. Something's telling me that this is not going to be a wash. I don't know what it is, but something inside me that's saying this is going to be another good game. I don't know why. Maybe it's a little fear from last week with that amazing game between Seattle and San Francisco. I was going to call this a wash, but I think this is actually going to be closer than what I think. But obviously, I'm taking the 49ers in this one, obviously. But I think it's going to be closer than what people think. Oh, and they're in San Francisco. And before I pass it to Danny, Mitchell Trubisky was another one that was on my list about who's not going to be with their organization next year. Trubisky's done in Chicago, maybe done for his career because I don't like him. I don't think he's a quarterback. He's not a good quarterback either. So I don't know. We'll see what happens. But Mitchell Trubisky out in Chicago. But on to Danny for his pick for this game. Cardinals, Niners. I got the Niners, but not by a lot.
See, and this is where it's tough because the Cardinals have shown to be a better team than the Lions at going toe-to-toe, with playoff contenders. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the upset and go with the Cardinals. I mean...
You think the Niners are going to get upset 2 weeks in a row?
Hey, sometimes it's a snowball effect. I wanted them to go undefeated. I didn't want Seattle to win, but I called it, and, I may not like Kyler Murray, but, everyone else is playing really well, so, yeah, I got the Cardinals winning this game.
Interesting theory, dude. Interesting. Ooh, I hope they're giving that on TV. I really do. I really want to watch this game. Next up is a wash. The Cincinnati Bengals and the Raiders. Bengals going on 0-10 right now because they're not going to beat the Oakland Raiders. Not going to happen. And before I pass it over to Danny, I had the opportunity to take a look at some shots of the new stadium in Las Vegas, getting ready for next season, and it looks amazing. Oh, it looks so beautiful. So, that's going to be so great. I can't wait for next year to see the Las Vegas Raiders. Sounds so weird to say that. Spending their entire life in California. Now you're going to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Raiders. That just doesn't sound right to me. So, but if you guys get a chance, go look at the stadium. I don't remember the name of it, but just put in Las Vegas Raiders. It shows you pictures. And oh my God, it is so beautiful. It's going to be a great stadium to see next season. But hands down, Raiders over the Bengals in Oakland.
Picking the Raiders because definitely, okay, I know for the Dolphins, where the Dolphins, they suck and everything, but they made some, trades and whatnot, and they made a lot of improvements, and they are actually doing all right. The Bengals, that's another quarterback, Andy Dalton. I think he's gone. He has never been good for them. No. And so I think they still have A.J. McCarron, I want to say, who comes from, Alabama. He's had like 2 or 3 starts in his NFL career. I think he would be a better fit. I think A.J. Green has been wasted with Andy Dalton. A.J. Green is a phenomenal talent. But yeah, I give it to the Raiders because they've been on a roll. I think they're 6-4 right now, and I mean, I see them maybe making the playoffs.
Yeah, they're definitely on the bubble, but I have to agree with you. Andy Dalton, I'm going to tie this into one thing. Andy Dalton is today's Carson Palmer. They've always had that issue at quarterback. Carson Palmer, who came out in the first round, I think it was the first pick too, didn't do hardly anything with the Cincinnati Bengals. And now, yeah, like I said, that's the way I see it. Andy Dalton is today's Carson Palmer. And then when Carson Palmer hit the bricks in Cincinnati, he became a stud. I don't remember for what team though. Where did that's where Carson right after Cincinnati? I thought he went somewhere else before. Oh, you're right. Yeah. And then then there's the Cardinals. Yeah. Yep, you're right. Next up, and this is my game to watch. I'm hoping for the upset continuation here because we have the New England Patriots at the Philadelphia Eagles. I'm picking the Eagles. I hope they continue this streak because, screw the Patriots. You got your bye week last week. You lost against the Ravens. Like I said, their next 4 games after this are contending teams. Not that this isn't personal. This is by the records and by the way things are going. Their next 4 games still contenders. I know they got the Eagles, they got the they got the Chiefs, the Cowboys. I think they're thrown in there. I think so. Yeah, like I said, we'll see. But I'm sticking by anybody who plays against the Patriots. I go opposite. I will never pick the Patriots, and I never have, and I never will. So, yep. Eagles over the Pats in Philly.
The Eagles are also one of those teams where, it's hard to pick for them. They know how to beat teams and they know how to win, but they also know how to lose as well. But I picked the Eagles. I agree with Larry. I will not pick the Patriots. I like Bill Belichick, but I don't like the Patriots organization. I will not buy Kraft macaroni and cheese anymore. He is a very horrible human being. He does not deserve any of those Super Bowls. He does not deserve any of the rings. He does not deserve to own that franchise. He does not deserve any of the money that he has. He is a very despicable being. But regardless of that, I'm picking the Eagles.
Absolutely. I'm in 100%. The only person that deserves all those rings. I do have to say, though, I will say, on a separate note, Josh Gordon, who made his Seattle debut, lit it up. But anyway, I don't know why that popped into my head just now, but the only person on the Patriots that deserves all 6 rings is Bill Belichick. That's it. In my opinion. He went from, God, I remember when I was a kid when he was coaching friggin' the Cleveland Browns. And yeah, he deserves every minute of it. Absolutely. But other than that, that's pretty much it. That's just me, but anyway. Next up, we have the Bears and the Rams. Bears are horrible. Rams are meh. They're one loss away of going to 500. They're one loss away of being a 500 football team. Last year you were 12-4. What happened? What's going on with the Rams? You are one loss away of being a 500 football team. I don't get it. But I will never go with the Bears either. Like I said, they're talentless. Like I said, the Bears look like freaking the '86 Bears against the Lions last week. But yeah, I'm not going to get into it. But this is a wash for me. It's Rams over the Bears in LA. It's all done. Rams over the Bears.
I get the Rams over the Bears as well. But the Rams have been a very disappointing team as well. Aaron, a lot of defensive stars haven't been doing well this year. Like Aaron Donald, he hasn't been as dominant as like last year. He had the NFL record for a defensive tackle sacks and almost broke the NFL record for sacks in a season with it was either 21.5 or 22.5. And this year, I think I don't even think he has 5 right now. Let me actually look it up. One moment. What's up, kitty? Man, I know. User in my cooking soon. Let me see. Yeah. He has 6 sacks this year. Like, that's still good, but compared to what he's usually producing, he's taken a huge step back this year. And so have the Rams. I mean, the Rams are unfortunately, I think, Rams, there we go. Yeah. That they are 5-4 right now. That, like, Jared Goff has not been playing well this year. I never thought he was a good quarterback anyway. Oh yeah, if you want to talk about an overrated quarterback, it's not Matthew Stafford, it's Jared Goff, and I'd rather have Matthew Stafford than the outrageously overpaid Jared Goff. Right now, Matthew Stafford's contract, out of I think the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now, I think he has the cheapest. You know, because the way they structured the deal, it actually doesn't hurt them in cap space, you know, when it comes to the new season. But anyway, I definitely have the Rams beating the Bears.
Da Bears. And Olive is now on top of me now. First time, actually. It's pretty cool. Oh, then now she's gone and going back to Danny. Anyway, the Bears Rams is the Sunday night game. So, ending week 11 on Monday night. I wish I could be more excited, but I really can't because the Chargers are the AFC Rams. And I hate to say that because this if this was like last year, this would have been great. Rounding it out on Monday night, we have the Kansas City Chiefs and the Chargers. Like I said, if this was last year, I would still be getting excited for it because that was one hell of a battle last year. It was amazing to watch, but this is not so much. Chiefs over the Chargers, hands down.
I got the Chargers. I like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes came back last week. Okay, yeah, he didn't throw any picks. Yeah, he threw for 300 yards. Yeah, he threw for 3 touchdowns, but they still lost to the Tennessee Titans. Like something's going on with these big teams, and my gut's telling me that the Chargers are going to take this game. I think Phillip Rivers is going to, not choke, and I think he's going to bite down and say, you know what, I'm going to win this game. Wapa. And then, 37-34, Chargers win.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, they need to get that flow back like they had last season. I mean, I think last season, I think the AFC was a better division overall because you had the Chargers, you had the Chiefs, you had the Patriots. It was more of an AFC driven league last year. Do I see that continuing? It's about 50-50 right now. Because, what are your stands? When you think NFC this year, 49ers, man. It's all 49ers. I really think the 49ers are going to go to the Super Bowl. I really do. They have the best shot at winning the Super Bowl.
I would love to see a rematch between the 49ers and the Ravens again. Just like in, I think it was 2013. Now, it won't be the Harbaugh brothers again, but it's just funny how it works out that those are probably the 2 best teams right now. And, I mean, even in the power rankings, they have the 49ers in first, and then they have the Ravens in second. So I definitely see a Super Bowl between the two.
Speaking of power rankings, Lions dropped all the way down to 23. So, yeah, there's that. And that is our Week 11. Week 11. Oh, it's getting so painful now because we know what's coming up. We got, 5 weeks left of the regular season. And then we go to the playoffs. Then after the playoffs, we go to the Super Bowl. After the Super Bowl, we give the game that everybody wants to see, the Pro Bowl. Yeah. You see, what they need to do as far as the Pro Bowl goes, they need to do it like they did in the old days and move that shit after the Super Bowl, so all the big names can play, and it's just ridiculous. But that would be a subject for another time. But other than our picks, everything, I think we pretty much covered everything. I mean, I really don't have anything else to really discuss. And look at that, we're only at 1 hour and 4 minutes. That's a lot better. Yes, quick edit, quick post, boom. But what we're going to do right now, we're going to do our little closing thing, and then we are going to discuss our future of what we're going to do with our wonderful podcast. So until next time, we're either going to be here or we're gonna be somewhere else. So on that note, yeah, enter dramatic music here. Dun dun dun.
I should stop recording. I think that's what I should do. I'm just kidding.
So yeah, we're gonna figure some things out, and like I said, at the very end of this podcast, we will let you know. So you'll hear a little break, and yeah, we'll have a little message for you at the end of this episode. So until next time, I'm Larry Sazinski.
Waiter Danny. See you on the other side.